Hey YouTube, what's going on? ZeroMagnumX here. My sincerest apologies. I completely forgot to give you guys a Throwdown Thursdays. So I'm here with that now. I know it's Sunday and some of you might be watching this on Monday, but I'm still going to give it to you. There's a HeroClix tournament that was supposed to happen and it didn't happen on Thursday. And I completely blanked that when I came home because I was disappointed and tired that I owed you guys this. Okay, this is going to be a video that is going to make people think outside the box a little bit and hopefully bring in some different kind of thoughts to the meta and be a discussion video for the forbidden and restriction list that isn't so focused on the obvious meta decks that generally are never hit or one or two things are done to them. Okay. So if you guys want to know my thoughts about the current meta decks, check out the last episode of Throwdown Thursdays. If you want to see me talking about Insectors, Chaos Dragons, Rescue Rabbit, that stuff, go back. This is stuff that isn't being talked about right now. And I like to be that guy. So, if you guys aren't interested in the popular stuff, then probably exit this video now. If not, stay tuned for some interesting thoughts I have. Okay, first up, I'm going to go with what the forbidden cards are that should come back to 1 are. Okay, the first up is Reign of Destruction. Why? Because Reign of Destruction is very good. It's a good equalizer. It makes your opponent think before they play their moves. For example, alright, they see you have one card face down and they figure, oh, it's like, you know, Bottomless Trap Hole or probably Mirror Force, so they're going to summon a couple of monsters in a turn anyway, or bait your Bottomless Trap Hole, and then they, lo and behold, they find out it's a Reign of Destruction. And they're going to be taking life point damage, and whatever moves they had previously planned before are now all of a sudden dramatically changed. The game state completely changes when this card is in. I know why it's on the forbidden list, because so many people were using it to get those quote-unquote cheap wins. Oh, I'm tired of losing to Reign of Destruction. Well, personally, I'm tired of losing to the meta cards right now, and I think this would be a good equalizer. It would make people think about just going all out and playing their cards perfectly and just going straight forward instead of saying, oh, what if they have a Reign of Destruction face down along with their Bottomless Trap Hole? I mean, I can bait their Bottomless Trap Hole, but what if they follow up with a Reign of Destruction on my other threat? And it makes players think a little bit more into the game. Okay. I'm going to talk about this card next with another card. Tribe Infecting Virus as well is going with another card, but because it's a monster, I'm going to bring it to the attention. I think this card should be back. There's no reason for it to be on the forbidden list as it is. The only thing this card would basically hit right now is pretty much Insectors and Dino Rabbit and Dragons. So it's another equalizer, guys. If priority for ignition is gone, so the game state is now closed, when you summon this, it will be hit by Bottomless Trap Hole. It's a fine card to come back at 1, especially if Reign of Destruction comes back. Yes, I'm shifting the format to be a few older formats ago because I think it needs to be done. With him coming into play, I think Dark Hole needs to get the bucket, or kick the bucket. It needs to go. It needs to get the boot. It needs to get out of here. I think this card should go back on the forbidden list. It's had its time, its play around, and it needs to go back. It needs to go away. Tribe is a fine solution to that. And here's my thing. I think Tribe Infected Virus should go to 2. But that's based on these restrictions and predictions. Here's why I think the Tribe needs to go back to 2. Number 1, Abyss Rising is coming out. This guy would go perfect in any of those water decks. At 1, he wouldn't be too great, but at 2, he's really helpful. And Konami will make sales because people will want to build that deck then. Okay? So that's why. And with Darkhold kicked out and 2 of this, you're fine. But again, I'm going to talk about some of my cards that should go to 3 and so on and so forth. The next up, I think Giant Trunade needs to come back at 1. And Space Typhoon needs to go to 2. I like having the Heavy Storm, Giant Trunade, and 2 Space Typhoon setup. It gives it so that you're not 1-for-1ing, and that Trunade's actually a technical -1, but it allows you to make your safe plays and get your own spells and traps back. With that said, sometimes that's better if you've had a card set for 3 or 4 turns and nothing's happened to it and it can't activate. Giant Trunade's a great way to clear up that spot and replay it later on. You can do all kinds of crazy tricks with it, as opposed to just having Heavy Storm and 3 Space Typhoon. I think Trunade needs to come back and Space Typhoon needs to go back to 2. This card needs to be gone. It dirtles around and does nothing else. It comes out, plays, you grab their monster back. Most of the time it's their monster, maybe your monster, and it just, from there, it is that. It needs to be removed from the game. It's not that good unless it's game breaking. It's a winning move, but it's not that good for the game state. It's not that good for the pace of the game or any of that. It's just there to get in the way. It's there to say, I win, I get a cheap win. Okay, yes, I know I'm kind of exchanging cheap win for cheap win here on Arena Destruction and Monster Reborn, but Arena Destruction makes you think a lot more and makes you, go, oh, how am I going to set up my Arena Destruction play to achieve victory? Because I don't want to burn for too much. And if they play their Arena Destruction first, all of a sudden, oh, well, I can't win with mine anymore. They just did it to kill off their monsters. So now we're like tied in life points, or my Arena Destruction play will kill me. So that adds some strategy and some thinking to the game, which we lack a lot of right now because I'm getting tired of the autopilot decks. That's just the thing I have with this game. That's why I've been playing other card games a lot more. Sorry for that little rant, but I think Reborn is too cheap to be in the game. It needs to go away. We have 3 Call of the Haunted and Action Unit and all those other cards to add more strategy to the game. So I think that's where it needs to be. The next card, I just think that this card's going to go to 2. Pure and simple. This card likes to play the bounce back and forth game, and I think it's probably going to go back to 2. My same reasoning is for the next card, Book of Moon. I can see this card easily going back to 2. Why? Because it helps with strategy. It gives you an edge. I mean, it's not that busted. We have Maelstroke, who does it during main phase. We have that Butterfly, Ixies. So Book of Moon would be a nice complement to both of those in helping out the game state. If somebody wanted to have a focus around it, there you go. So I think Book of Moon would be fine coming back to 2. I think it would give stun players a lot of options. I think it would give other decks a lot of options, among other things. So I think that needs to go back to 2, and that's just all there is to it. Okay. The next card I think that needs to come to 2 is Gale the Whirlwind. Longest time, Black Wings have been sitting on the back burner. Until we get the newer stuff, it's going to be difficult. Like, really, really difficult to play Black Wings in the current meta. I really, really believe and really, really think that Gale the Whirlwind at 2 is fine. Ignition priority is gone, among other things, and I just think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be good. A lot of people have said that it should come back to 2 and that there's no issues with it. So, I mean, Valor stops it dead in its tracks because it can't call Prio or any of that. So, it's fine. Okay, final last 2. I'm going to talk about TG Striker. This card can come back to 2. Why? Because TGs haven't really been doing anything in the main circuit. They've been doing a couple of tricks and a couple of other things. But I think TG Striker 2 would be okay. It's fine. It's a decent setup. It puts another deck right into the meta that wasn't before and gives players versatility, and it's a budget deck. So I think it's fine. Okay, finally, the one card I want to bring back to 3 is Bottomless Trap Hole. I'm in agreement, and I see this a lot. It's useful, it's helpful, it's kind of sort of like another warning, but not really. So if you can run 3 of these, you have a chance at running like stun again. You have a chance of running good decks that are anti-meta, and that needs a place, because usually I think this is how the September lists are normally to slow the meta down, and that's basically what I'm trying to do with this list. So let me know what you guys think a little bit on it, and if you guys like it, if you think this is a bad idea, whatever else have you. And ZeroMagnumX out. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Throwdown Thursdays and my Forbidden and Restricted List predictions. Peace, YouTube.